Hey there, Heather Ho, there's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Stone Cold Hockey video. We have a new season for you. That's right. It's 1978-79 NHL. Of course, I went through 1965 as the Toronto Maple Leafs trying to four-peat the 1968. Blues trying to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals as an expansion team. 1971 Habs using Ken Dryden more and more often, seeing how good we were in the playoffs. A couple of WHA seasons, and then just recently did the 1975 season with the Philadelphia Flyers trying to repeat as champion, and I did. I think I did, right? Yeah. I keep thinking I didn't for some strange reason. Yeah, I beat Montreal. But anyway, we're going to start the 78-79 NHL season where there are 17 teams in the NHL. 74-75, yeah, there were 18 teams in 74-75. Now there's 17. You may be asking, how did they lose a team? Well, it's a crazy story. So anyway, the Patrick division has the Rangers, Flames, the Atlanta Flames, Islanders, and Philly. Just like 1975, the Smite division has Chicago, St. Louis, Vancouver, and Colorado. You see, like Colorado, they had an NHL team prior to 1995. They did. They were the Colorado Rockies. Like Colorado, Kansas City, after a few years of heart and soul, failed miserably and moved to Colorado to the Rockies. The Prince of Wales, the Adams has Boston, Toronto, Buffalo, Minnesota. There's one massive omission. Well, there's a mid, and the North has Washington, Montreal, Detroit, LA, Pittsburgh. Everyone knows about Detroit, Montreal, LA, Pittsburgh in the North being so good, and then Washington, Detroit now in the North. The main reason is that there was a massive change, and the big change was that the California Golden Seals were still around in 1975. But by 1977, no, 76, excuse me, they went to Cleveland thanks to the Gunn brothers. So Cleveland got an NHL team finally after so many years trying to get it. And worst of all, their arena, Richmond Field Coliseum, was in the middle of freaking nowhere. Unfortunately, Cleveland sucked badly, and they actually did what few NHL teams ever did. There was a merger. They merged with the Minnesota North Stars. So many of the Minnesota North Stars are former Cleveland Barons or Oakland Seals, if you will. So that practically is weird. And then now you got 17 teams. And this is the season before the four WHA teams, the Whalers, the Nordiques, the Jets, and the Oilers came to town. So what we're going to do is we're going to play as Boston. The reason why we're playing as Boston is 78-79 is the famous season in which Boston had a chance to go to the Stanley Cup Finals, lost Game 7 of the semifinals to Montreal. And it cost Don Cherry's job because Harry Sinden was trying to butt heads with him. So we're going to go to the Boston Bruins. Now, Boston did not start on October 11th. Chicago and Atlanta tied. St. Louis and Detroit tied. LA beat Washington. Montreal crushed Minnesota. Toronto lost to Pittsburgh, and Vancouver beat Colorado. And we faced Pittsburgh. Islanders beat Buffalo, and the Rangers beat Philly. But here's the big one: Pittsburgh, Boston. So we're doing Boston, and Gary Cheevers came back to the Bruins from the WHA after a few years in Cleveland. Ironically, Cheevers, his first NHL game back from the WHA was February 7th, 1976. February 8th, 1976. If you remember the day February 7th, 1976, you're a hockey historian. Because that was the day Daryl Sittler put 10 points up on the Bruins, and Dave Reese basically lost his career. Anyway, Cheevers has Jill Chabert and Jim Petty in the net, too. Pittsburgh Braves, the late Greg Millen on the roster. Greg Millen passed away earlier this year. He used to back up to Danny Herron and Gordon Laxton also playing. So let's take a look at Pittsburgh. The 1979 Pittsburgh Penguins had Greg Malone, Peter Lee, who was his OHL hot goal-scoring icon, Rick Kehoe, through the keyhole, Russ Lonsberry, formerly of the Flyers, 75 Flyers, Ron Schutt, George Ferguson, former Leaf, Oris Kindrachuk, also went from the Flyers to Pittsburgh, which was Greg Shepard, former Boston Bruin. I thought Shepard was for the 79 Bruins, but yeah, they traded him to Pittsburgh. Pete Mahovlich still around. Randy Carlyle, remember him, helmetless, but he won the Norris Trophy, and the Leafs decided to trade him to Pittsburgh before the 78 season. Ron Stackhouse, Blaine Chapman, Wayne Biochin, Chuck Cosette, Dale Talon, the former #2 pick for the Vancouver Canucks, well, their first ever pick in 1970. Tom Bladen, who also was a former Philadelphia Flyer, and also Dave the Hammer Schultz. It's like, why did Philly give Pittsburgh all these players? Man, I have to face four former Flyers. Russ Anderson, Colin Campbell, yes, that Colin Campbell, Kim Davis, Bob Paradise, Mike Meeker, and Tom Price. Boston has Rick Middleton, who the Rangers mortgaged for the one of Ken Hudge Sr., Peter McNabb, R.I.P., great color commentator for the Devils and the Avalanche. John Animal Wensek, Jonathan Jean Rotel, who we picked up for the Rangers in the Phillips Masillo trade. Wayne Cashman, who was pretty good. Terry O'Reilly, named Taz, Don Marcotte, Bobby Schmaltz, good player. Al Secord, who was a decent player. Bob Miller, who looked like Screech from Saved by the Bell. Dwight Foster, Kitchener. That's right, I have a Kitchener Ranger on my team. His name is Dwight Foster. Al Sims, Brad Park, who also came in the Espo trade. Dick Redmond, Rick Smith, Gary Doak, Stan Jonathan, who was this bug and all that, and the guy who cost Boston because of that too many man penalty. It was him who botched it. Mike Shaker Walton on that team. Tom Sungen, Dennis O'Brien, Mike Milbury, who was an up and coming defenseman who Harry Sinden wanted to keep down in the AHL, but had to bring him back because their top defensive prospect basically was horseshit. I don't know what that book was about. Dick Redmond, I don't know. But anyway, Milbury was a decent player. And then the next season he beat Zona with his own shoe. Bill Bennett. And that's it. All right, so timing. 4 minutes into the game. Steelers. Power play goal. Rod shut from Randy Carlyle. 1-0 Pittsburgh. You shut the door on that one. 4 minutes later. It's Miller time. Riley and French. 1-1. Mahavlich. They killed the son on Middleton and Sims. 5 minutes later. 20 minutes of play. Pittsburgh won their opener. Replayer hit. One more minute. Pittsburgh? No. They're the blue dice, remember? Road teams are always the blue dice. The red dice goes to us. The home team. 5 minutes later. Hey. 1-1. 2-1 Boston. Carter Park. Well, this is Ashton and Rankin. Boston. Boy, we fleeced the Rangers. That's for McNabb. Oh, I think he was trying to ice this thing. Pittsburgh, note. Got it. That counts. McNabb trying to score, but he can't. Yeah, in real life, 43, 23, and 14. Okay. Power play, Marcotte. Can't do anything. 4 minutes later, we get a penalty. It's Redmond. It's for chance. Peter Reed. No. They score in the power play. Greg Shepard. His third, scoring against his former team. His third in 2 games from Ferguson and Keyhole. 3-2. Remember, they played a game we haven't. 4 minutes later. Chance. No. I thought Marcotte had it. Action. Skiers. Kindrachuk. Given an arrest, his second from shut, and Colin Campbell trying to ruin me after I helped them win the Stanley Cup. 5 minutes later, hit. We're getting close to the end. Speaking Simlish, Al Sims from Rick Smith with the empty nets coming up. And we survived 4-3. Boy, we were lucky. We gave him the first goal, then scored 3, and then Pittsburgh had the had to tie the game, and then we scored with Elson's. Now, of course, I was a little nervous because in 1978, 79, like the other seasons prior to 79, regular season overtime did not exist. So basically, it would have been a tie. And the rules are if I lose or tie a game, I have to send the next one. Washington beats Atlanta. St. Louis and Vancouver tie. Saturday night, we go to Pittsburgh. But since we played Pittsburgh already, we have to skip anyhow. Philly beats Detroit. St. Louis and LA tie. Minnesota beats Buffalo. Montreal Gagne. We beat Pittsburgh 2-1. Shivers beats Heron. Middleton and Dwight Foster. Kitchener with the goals. Greg Malone for Pittsburgh. Leafs on Saturday night get their ass whipped 7-1 by the Cupcakes. And Atlanta beats Washington. So our next game, I don't know. Oh, there's our next game. Boston. There we go. Detroit beats Buffalo. Chicago beats Vancouver. Rangers and Colorado tie. And Montreal ties Philly. But we play the 0-2 Leafs. And it will be Gilles Chabert giving him a game. I'm sorry, against Mike Palmetier, the Popcorn Kid. Paul Harrison and Pierre Hamel are his backups. But yeah, Mike Palmetier, known as the Popcorn Kid. The Leafs in 1979 were just getting off a semifinals appearance in the 78 playoffs where they got ass whipped by the Habs, but it was the Habs. As a Leaf fan, I wouldn't be too upset. Anyway, there's Lanny McDonald, his last full year with the Leafs before returning to Colorado because Punch Imlach was a cocksucker. There, I said it. Daryl Sittler, who was pretty good, and I have his autographed card. Walt McCagney there. Tiger Williams. Boye Salming, great defenseman. Dan Maloney, decent player. Ron Ellis, number 6 in your programs. Johnny Anderson, Pat Boutet before he went to Hartford. Ian Turnbull, 5 goals in 1 game. Jimmy Jones, I have his baseball card with the Padres. Jerry Butler, who would then be traded to Vancouver in the Rick 5 deal. Ron Wilson, not that Ron Wilson. I don't think it was that Ron Wilson. Or was it? Anyway, Dave Hutchison, he's crossed my path a lot. Gary Monahan, Bruce Boudreau. Yes, that Bruce Boudreau. Lawrence Stambler, Rocky Saganek, Dave Burrows, Joe Quinville. Yes, that Joe Quinville. And Trevor Johansson. If everything's true, they have 3 former kind of controversial coaches on their roster. Anyway, 3 minutes into the game. Questions? They get a basket. Turnbull goes off for 2. Do we have a chance? That's a powerful goal. Gentleman, Jean Rattel, his first from Middleton and McNabb. 1-0 Boston. 2 minutes later. Any chance to score again? No, we don't. Much later. It's Grenville for 2. That's what you get. Marcotte? No. Couldn't pick it. O'Reilly? Damn it. 3 minutes later. We can't score. 3 more minutes. We do score. The second from Schmaltz and Mulberry makes it 2. After 20 minutes at the Garden, we're up 2-0. Two minutes later, battle aggression. You take advantage? No. Another chance for McNabb, damn it. It's like, how did we lose? 6 minutes later. They have a chance and they score. Dan Maloney. This goal, Dan Maloney. His second from Ellis and Sittler makes it 2-1. 3 minutes later. Aggression? Toronto. It's Tiger. Who else? Do we take advantage? No, we can't take advantage. How the hell are we not taking advantage of this? How? 2 minutes later. Cash money. First from Mattel and Foster. Assist. Four minutes later. That's Seacourt. And we give up a goal. Jerry Butler. The Butler did it. His first from Ellis and Jimmy Jones. 3-2. we come back to Central Park, his second from Millbury. 2. 1 minute later, Toronto trying to come back. No. Trying to kill the clock. Chance for us? No. Empty net time. And that's not doing anything. And we're now 3-0. A big 4-2 win for us. Toronto tried, but we scored. Rattel, Sibbs, Cashman, and Pack. We're 3-0. But against 2 opponents. Winter and the others could only tie. St. Louis crushes Vancouver 7-2. We go to Los Angeles, so I guess we go to California. Vancouver, Minnesota tie. Rangers beat Detroit. Pittsburgh shocks the Islanders. Leafs can't catch a break with Buffalo, and Chicago, Washington tie. So we go to LA. And in a surprise move, it will be Jim Petty in net for the Boston Bruins. Kind of a weird move, but we figured we might as well. The Kings 1-0-1. Yeah, no rookie fashion. He went to Detroit in free agency, which was a bad move because LA had a good goalie. He was good with LA. Mario Lassard, the third goalie, Ron Graham. He had a Boston connection because he was a WHA goalie, and then he actually jumped to Boston. Well, his son John was a goalie for Boston. And LA traded their 8th overall pick for Ron Graham. Well, Graham was Boston property. LA needed a goalie, so they traded their first round pick for Ron Graham. And guess who the first round pick the Kings could have had? Yes, none other than Ray freaking Bork. Nevertheless, Petty in that against Lassard. LA has Marcel Dion, the icon, at center. Dave Taylor and Charlie Siver, the Triple Crown line. Butch Goring, the year before he was traded to the Islanders at the trade deadline. Steve Jansen. I can't think he was in the Olympic team, but that's wrong. Mike Murphy, the future head coach of the Leafs. Glenn Goldup, not the piano player. Murray Wilson, the former Hab. Tom Williams, Danny Grant, the former Red Wing and North Star. I think he went to LA for Rogie. Bert Wilson. Randy Mannery, Sil Apps Jr., who was Pittsburgh, now with LA. Robert Palmer, not the singer. Vic Vanaski, Mike Hepslop, Rick Hampton. Bob Murdoch, who would go on to coach Chicago and Winnipeg. Brian Glennie for relief. Doug Hallworth. Yeah, that's it. Doug Hallworth. That's the guy who Boston mortgaged themselves with instead of Millbury, and Hallworth was got rid of. Daryl Edelstad and Nick Beverly. 2 minutes later. I think the penalty is Heaslip. Do we have a chance? We do. He scored. Stuck in the Middleton with you. A second from O'Reilly. Much later. They have a chance to tie? No. Again, high roll. Scores! Cash money. His second from Marcotte. 2-0 through 20. 3 minutes later. Split. Progression. 5-minute major. C card, you dum-dum. Now they can score any time. Second from Dion and Berkeley. Mannery fumbles. Passing play skiers. Peter McNabb, shorty from Shaker Walton and O'Reilly. We give up 2 over 5-minute play, but we do score shorthanded. So we take the bad with the good. It's good. Cash money has third from Milbury and Rattal. 4-2. And Ron Graham is going to come in the net. It's like, I know these Bruins too well. But he gives up a goal. Rattel, Jean Leital, his second of the net. You're from Stan Donovan and Brad Park with an assist. Much later, just killing the clock. Attack has been hit hard, but Dave Taylor's in the box. Middleton, but we score. Bill Bennett. Bill Bennett. He came out of nowhere from Rattal and Middleton. Bill Bennett. I don't remember talking about Bill Bennett. Okay. Nicely done. Danny Bob Murdoch. But they killed his own on Wednesday. 4 minutes later, Skeeler Shanaman Sean his second of the night from O'Reilly and Marcotte, 7-2. Well, LA really misses rookie Vashon. We crush them 7-2. We scored one shorthanded. Yeah, they tied it at 2, but we scored 5 straight goals. So yeah, 7-2 is our score. We'll simulate till our last. We'll simulate till our next game. Our next game is in Vancouver, so we go on the West Coast. Go to Vancouver. Well, we are in the Adams Division. We're undefeated. Are we the only undefeated? No, we're not. Rangers, St. Louis, and Chicago all are undefeated. Rangers are 3-0-1, which is nice. St. Louis and Chicago only have won one game. They've tied the rest. They're still undefeated, technically. And the Colorado is winless, and so are the Leafs. They're 0-5. Even Washington has a bloody win. So yeah, we're top of the division. Buffalo, Minnesota. I think Minnesota was in the North or something. Or was it the Smythe? I think they were in the Smythe. Anyway, goal scoring. We haven't got the goal scoring that Guy Schwernard and Don Lever have yet. Points wise, Gary Unger looks good. Wayne Thomas, Wayne Stevenson, and Jerry Cheevers, the goalies. Yeah, Stevenson is basically coming in for Parent. Mike Palmetier is 0-5. They got to find a new goalie for him. But yeah, we'll be going into Vancouver soon, and maybe we'll have some fun. Anyhow, I'm Jeff. I'm going to do.